You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hello to everyone once again, and welcome back to another episode of Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
How are we doing, guys? Happy holidays.
Almost that time.
Yep.
Almost that day.
Trying to make it to vacay.
Oh. How many days do you have?
Oh, I got another week.
Oh, okay. I am off this weekend. I have tomorrow off, Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully nobody calls off, because lately that's been the deal. Every time I do have a day off, the other person calls off. So, let's cross our fingers, because I haven't had a weekend for a while.
My schedule lines up for the best it's been in years, where I'll be able to get 4 days off. I normally get 2 or maybe 3, and it's like, I got 4 days off for Christmas and nowhere to be and nothing to do. Yeah, normally this time of year you're running around trying to get stuff done. I've just been chilling out, working, watching lots of Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what we're all doing, watching lots of Star Wars.
I did my Bo-Katan cosplay today.
Oh, nice.
Got my new Mando shirt on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Got my sweet headband rocking like Bo-Katan. So as we record, the final episode of Mandalorian Season 2 just dropped today. So we are hyped up for this big reveal. People are still kind of tiptoeing around spoilers, but we are going to spoil everything about it. So beware of that.
Yes. So
But,
listen up
before
until
we get
that point.
there, yeah, that'll be at the end of the episode.
I brought my green lightsaber,
No
guys.
spoilers.
For no reason at all, Cliff has a green lightsaber.
That's just what color I chose.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yoda.
So a couple days ago, Disney had their Investor Day presentation. Cliff, are you an investor?
I am not. I don't.
Do you have a buck? A Disney buck?
Yeah, I think my wife does.
Shroot? You have a Shroot buck?
I got a Cliff Nickel.
So this was the day all the investors were privy to this fancy presentation.
It's their San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
Basically.
well, sort of. I mean, normally D23 would be their San Diego Comic-Con. This is kind of this is their,
for the guys that just sit around on the phone.
Yeah, this is their D23. But not D23.
Yeah, so here's why you invested in Disney, and here's why you're going to make a ton of money in the next year, because here's everything that's coming up. So this news dropped all basically in a day. It was a crazy day for headlines and social media. So it was a while ago. We're not breaking any news here, but you may have missed some of it. So I tried to compile everything I could from the stuff that we care about. And I know I missed some stuff going back over this today. So
yeah, just I guess out of pure luck that we're doing this tonight, because I didn't have this planned, but yeah, I watched the Marvel presentation again just last night, I believe. So I do at least have that much kind of fresh on the brain.
Right. So I'm gonna burn through the first few things here. That were just quick little news bits. If you have an opinion, like, wave at me or something. If you want me to stop, if you have something to say about any of this, I'm gonna try to go fast. They have teased roughly 10 Marvel shows. Roughly, we're not even sure. We've lost count. Roughly 10 Marvel shows, 10 Star Wars shows, 15 animated Disney and/or Pixar shows, and 15 animated Disney and/or Pixar movies in the works for Disney Plus. So there's lots going on. We got news. The final Indiana Jones is in pre-production for July 2022. directed by James Mangold. Fargo's Noah Hawley is making an Alien show for FX. Who saw that coming? Turner and Hooch reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Ducks reboot.
Mm-hmm. With
Hocus
Emilio
Pocus.
Estevez.
Oh, is he coming back?
I'm pretty sure.
I would hope. Hocus Pocus 2 and a sequel to Enchanted called Disenchanted.
Mm-hmm.
Whoopi Goldberg and Tyler Perry doing Sister Act 3. A new Ice Age film. An animated Night at the Museum sequel. That's the family-friendly stuff. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has been renewed for 3 more seasons through season 18. So the longest-running live-action comedy ever is continuing on. Handmaid's Tale renewed for season 5.
Oh, wow.
Atlanta seasons 3 and 4 will start airing on Disney Plus in 2021. That one I didn't. That doesn't.
That seems like not a match.
That doesn't sound. That seems more like a Hulu or I don't know. But
I had heard that Disney Plus is going to have R-rated features, R-rated content coming. So I guess.
Yeah, so I don't know if that means it's not going to be on FX or if I'm not sure what that means, but it was a headline, so I included it. All right, the Kardashians have been absorbed by Disney with a new content deal.
God, they won't go away.
All right, back on brand. John Mulaney and Andy Samberg are doing a Chippendale Rescue Rangers revival, directed by Akiva Schaffer from the Lonely Island group. The Pixar's first original series, a show about softball. I didn't even see a title for that one, but it was something about softball. They're doing animated TV versions starring Baymax from Big Hero 6, Zootopia, and the princesses Tiana and Moana. A series about Doug the dog from Up. A Cars series about Lightning McQueen and Mater. And the movie Raya and the Last Dragon, they announced it will premiere on the premium tier of Disney Plus the same day and date as theaters, much like they did with Mulan. So this is, you'll have to pay extra for this one. That's the Kelly Marie Tran voiced animated feature. But Tom Hanks's Pinocchio is skipping theaters and going straight to Disney Plus on the regular tier. And the final bit of Disney news, Chris Evans is playing the human, quote-unquote, Buzz Lightyear. I think that kind of made the most rounds on social media.
Yeah, he's playing the man that inspired the fake cartoon, apparently. Just titled Lightyear. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Okay. So that's all the non-Marvel or Star Wars news. Anything jump out at you?
It's a lot of stuff.
Surprising or crazy?
Yeah, no, not a lot. They've taken some of those animated series aren't very surprising because those are very much the most popular characters in the last couple 3-4 years. With Moana, Tiana, Baymax, they're always a big hit in the theme parks. People really like those characters, the young kids right now. So just a new generation of fans and characters. Very similar to what they did in the mid 90s with their animated series when they came out with a Little Mermaid series, a Hercules series. There were several there.
All right, on the Marvel side of things, several of the shows we already knew about, but we got trailers for the animated What If, a new trailer for WandaVision, trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
The legacy of that shield is complicated. is upside down. People need something to get behind. They need the symbol. So what's our plan? So no plan. Great.
And a trailer for Loki, and the definite release date of May 2021 for Loki.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff looked solid to me.
Yeah, I liked the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer a whole lot because we hadn't seen much from that yet. And then I thought the Loki trailer was getting a lot of buzz. People seemed to be excited about Loki.
Again, that was one no one quite knew what it was going to be about, but this gives you a little more. People are picking stuff out. Oh, that's from this comic, and that's from that comic. Yeah, so it gives you a little more information without spoiling a whole lot. Hawkeye confirmed Haley Steinfeld casting, and it is premiering late fall 2021. That's as close as we got from there.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some photos released online of their filming. We've seen her in costume. We've seen Pizza Dog, and a couple of things from that show.
What is the deal with the hearing aids?
In the comics, I don't know if the movies ever made any reference to him being deaf or partly deaf.
I don't think so.
Legally deaf, is that a thing? You can be legally blind. Can you be legally deaf?
Probably, I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, he's not fully deaf, but he's always had, in the comics at least, the hearing problems. 3 new series announced. Ironheart. So that is Riri Williams, the young, like an engineering student who basically builds her own Iron Man armor, becomes a hero. Armor Wars, starring Don Cheadle, as basically, Tony Stark did messes up, guys. Buckle up, something Tony did is gonna cause trouble with the world. So the technology gets out, and Don Cheadle's got to put it back as War Machine. And then Secret Invasion, starring Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn reprising their roles from Captain Marvel as Samuel Jackson and a Skrull.
It's the one I'm the least excited about.
That one I thought, wow, that kind of wastes that concept.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion could have been a huge thing.
Yeah.
And now it's just this small thing. So
Whatever.
Well, the thing I noticed about the presentation with Kevin Feige was he kind of made it a point how all of these projects, whether it's a movie or it's a series, they are all still connected. They are all intertwined with each other. So don't be surprised if that bleeds over into some of these other shows.
They've made it all work so far. I guess I shouldn't doubt their ability at this point. We've got some casting updates that we knew Tatiana Maslany was going to be She-Hulk, but we got confirmed that Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth from the older film will both be reprising their roles. So Tim Roth was the
Abomination.
Abomination, right? So we're going to get Bruce Banner and the Abomination in She-Hulk in some form or fashion. We got confirmation that Ms. Marvel, the new series they're going to be doing, that character will appear in Captain Marvel 2, the film.
Correct.
And Doctor Strange will be appearing in Spider-Man 3, which we already knew his sequel tied into WandaVision, so now we know it also ties into Spider-Man, so are we getting some kind of Spider-Verse, Everything's multiversal in this wave. It seems like
I've lost count of the different actors that are coming back for the third or fourth or whatever Spider-Man movie this will be, that they've confirmed. But we know now that the Marvel shows from Hulu, they've got some of those guys coming back, reprising their roles, and there's rumors of more coming from those shows. So,
oh, what a mess it all is! I love it. And we knew Christian Bale was going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, but we didn't know who. We just learned he is playing the villain Gore the God Butcher,
whoever that is.
It's from a fairly recent, when Jason Aaron wrote the book, he introduced him. It's a pretty cool character. I like that run of the series. It's basically a character who just doesn't believe in the gods anymore, and the gods have turned their backs on us, so he doesn't have any use for the gods. So, as per his title of God Butcher, he doesn't like gods. We learned Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special is due in 2022, directed by James Gunn, and they're going to film it alongside Volume 3. So the third movie's not coming out till 2023, but we're going to get a holiday special in 2022.
Have we confirmed Itchy or Lumpy?
There has to be some kind
maybe
of
a B. Arthur Force ghost.
We got confirmed Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania.
What a great title.
One word, Quantum Mania. So directed by Peyton Reed, who directed the first two, and the last episode of
Mandalorian.
And it's introducing Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
the guy from Lovecraft Country is signed on for multiple.
Oh, I had heard that, but I didn't know this is where it was going to come in.
Yeah, Kang is going to be the new Thanos, I think.
I've been interested to see. Oh, he's better than Thanos. I'm a Kang fan.
Whoa, that's big talk. People love Thanos. You're promising big shoes. You're promising he's going to fill these big shoes.
They love Thanos. Like, I don't know. I guess he's a more to me. I like Kang like as a more likable villain, or likable. Dink as Cliff would say, but
I think he's done more in comic history than probably Thanos has. He's been around longer, and he's impacted more characters. Times. So Ant-Man's going to be dealing with the quantum realm, Doctor Strange with the multiverse, WandaVision with who knows. So this seems like they're going to get hinky a little bit.
It's going to be a freaking mess.
Yeah. Time travel, other dimensions, other realms. So is that how the next piece of news comes about? Fantastic Four is coming home from John Watts, director of Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. We're getting a reboot of the Fantastic Four.
They should totally do that with Fantastic Four. Mash up all the Fantastic Four movies with all the different Johnny Storms and all that crap. That would be so funny. Just take clips from the other movies and have them talking to write dialogue that would go along with it. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
For going a year with no Marvel stuff, this feels like brain overload. Like if my brain can't handle how much is coming in the next couple of years.
Not only all that stuff, but we still haven't seen Black Widow. We still haven't seen the Eternals. All of that is coming.
Well, Disney has obviously divided it up. If you want to release something, Black Widow can't, but any people of color get day and date release. Raya the Last Dragon, Soul, Mulan, boom, theaters and Disney Plus the same day. The white people get a little window. I got on Disney somewhere in here, Cliff. This little trend I noticed.
You're just throwing out controversial takes, man.
Hey, it's a true story.
Yeah, you're not PC. You don't play by their rules. You're the wild card of this podcast.
Boom! Wow.
All right, and then it was on to Star Wars news. If all that wasn't enough, we also got a ton of Star Wars updates. All right, we got movies coming. We got Rogue Squadron coming from director Patty Jenkins, the Wonder Woman director.
I was very excited when they mentioned Patty Jenkins coming to Star Wars.
December 2023.
You guys, I assume you guys all saw her reveal trailer. You look blank.
No.
Oh, you have to watch it. There is she herself put out a little trailer. She's I only watched it once. I want to say she's like rollerblading. She's rollerblading through this parking lot over to the trunk of her car and starts talking about how her dad was a fighter pilot. And she's always wanted to do a fighter pilot, movie, like the best. She wants to do the ultimate dog fighting movie or whatever.
I'm all in.
And she never has been given the chance or knew the right vehicle to do it. And meanwhile, she's like, taking her rollerblades off and getting ready. And she's sitting there in the back of her car. And then she goes, I finally found the perfect mashup of fighter pilots and another thing I really love. And then she puts on her freaking X-Wing helmet and walks away with her flight suit and walks over to an X-Wing.
Wow.
I somehow missed that. I don't know.
Yeah,
how.
It was all over the place.
I was just, I was excited when they said Rogue Squadron. Yeah. First of all, because there's a whole history, so I'm curious to see if it follows that, if we get to see.
I wish she'd have said, I love babies too. And I'm mashing it all up, and we're going to Baby Rogue Squadron, and everybody be like, this is the greatest show.
Exactly.
Baby Red 5, checking in.
Baby
Gold Leader.
Baby Porkins.
Baby Porkins. Baby Dak. Yeah, I'm all for it. Bring it on.
Wedge. Go on, I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, Rogue Squadron, talking about those dark times when it was just novels and comics, like Rogue Squadron was a huge hit. There's so many Dark Horse comics starring Wedge and this Rogue Squadron. The video game. I love that video game.
Definitely.
All spun off of the first level of Shadows of the Empire. Shadows of the Empire had the Hoth level, and everybody freaking loved it. And so they made a whole game of Rogue Squadron.
There was no announcement on whatever Taika Waititi is doing, just that it's still in development. There's no title. There's no nothing. But he's still involved.
Speculation. What I can't remember what it was. I feel it made a lot of sense. Whatever it was, now I can't remember. Anyway, go on.
All right, those are the movies. Over to Disney Plus, we knew about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but we learned that Hayden Christensen is returning as Darth Vader, and that this show picks up 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. I don't care who, whatever. I don't care that it's him. I don't care that it's him in the suit. I never liked him.
Well, I would imagine that's what I keep hearing. It's like, it won't matter. He's in the suit. I feel like they're going to use him to be him in some way. You're going to know it's Hayden Christensen, or they wouldn't be doing it. Which I'm fine with.
What else does he have going on?
Yeah, I don't know. But
I mean, not that it matters, but is there any indication in the original Star Wars that they've seen each other since, only a master of evil, Darth? He knows who he is.
No. I mean, was there any indication what happened today in Mandalorian?
No.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't imagine Obi-Wan ever crossing paths with Darth Vader again.
You didn't think that Darth Maul either.
Yeah.
But look what Filoni did with that. So
if they can figure a way to fit it in there, they're going to do it. It's fine with me. Let's do it.
In Filoni we trust. Bring it all back. We are getting 2 Mandalorian spinoffs. So the Ahsoka spinoff was confirmed, and something called Rangers of the New Republic So people seem to think that's a Cara Dune show or something to do with what they're setting up with the badges and the.
Are we gonna get Timothy Oliphant?
Oh yeah, bring him back.
I would watch that if that's Rangers. Him, I could care less of shit. Her having her own show does not through. I suffer through every second that she's in Mandalorian because she's not a good actress. She's just not. Well, she doesn't work for me. This episode today was the best I've ever seen her do, and it's because it was more about action.
Yeah, I would watch just Dave Filoni and another dude like pulling up next to people in their X-wings, like hey, what are you guys doing?
Poncha John,
right? Just around. Do that intergalactic chips. Just have them out like solving crime.
Yeah, old Trapper Wolf and Kim's Convenience just rolling on through.
7 Mary 3. Trapper, what's going on out there? Well, get away from that. It's gonna blow up.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I thought the same thing. I'd heard speculation about her character being in this show, this Rangers show, but I don't think she's good enough to carry a whole show by herself.
So it also said that all 3 of them take place in the same time, and they're expected to cross over. So we'll start having events where all 3 shows
absolutely
interweave and
But we don't know that Rangers means that at all because
that's
just she's a marshal, not a ranger. So who knows what the heck it means?
Yeah.
All right, we knew Lando was coming.
Man, that
baby Lando.
That's the one that jumped off the page to me. I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, please let it be Donald Glover." Please.
Well, if Atlanta's coming to Disney Plus, that would make a lot of sense.
Oh,
but this one they called it an event series. So the other ones are just series or Disney Plus. So this one they worded differently as a quote unquote event series. So maybe it is just a one-time thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's a
so
one-off.
you think Donald Glover would come back, but who I mean, yeah.
Lando could be in any era, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give me all the Landos. I want Billy D.
Right.
Donald Glover, like
Baby Lando, all of them.
Crisis on Infinite Lando.
Right.
Cool. Andor. Diego Luna's character from Rogue One is coming.
Yeah. Andor, not Endor.
Yeah,
Andor.
I thought you said indoor.
Indoor.
Andor.
Outdoor.
Yeah, so this is the Rogue One. I think it's a prequel.
Prequel, yeah.
Yeah.
And his character, his character was fine. I never thought I really had to know more about him, but I liked him well enough.
Well, I do know. I read several stories at the time when that movie came out, just about when it was a big discussion on diversity and a lot of Latino and Mexican Americans that were very excited about that character coming to the big screen. So
I think that we're not trying to belittle it. I think that that's where they went towards this idea, but I think it'll be good. And
I love Rogue One.
Yeah. So.
And last real big one, The Acolyte.
Yeah.
They're calling it a mystery thriller set in the High Republic era. And it's the person who created Russian Doll, the popular Netflix show, Leslie Headland.
Now this could not have any connection. There's no chance of what happened today happening in Acolyte. That's what's exciting. And I know these books are coming out next month. I was thinking about reading the first book about all the, it's this whole new
the
far gone time of Jedis and stuff. So I'm interested in there being a whole era that we don't know anything about yet.
Yeah, all of a sudden I don't think I ordered enough for that first issue of the comic that's coming out.
Yeah. Yep.
Then there were some animated ones. We're getting Star Wars Visions. Looks like an anime anthology of animated shorts. a droid story
Cool.
featuring a new hero alongside R2 and C-3PO. And The Bad Batch, animated series about clones from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, which of course was in that newest final season of the Clone Wars. Those guys had a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Misfit clones.
Yeah, defective.
Yeah, so they were decent. I'm assume they've got some new ideas to use for these characters, and I know that Fennec Ming-Na Wen is going to be in it, and we will see.
So is that enough to fill our streaming coffers from now to 2023? I think.
I'm pretty glad to hear that there is going to be that much content on my TV. So I was getting a little worried. But yeah, absolutely. A lot of good stuff. I mean, we have stuff coming out this next. I mean, there's a new Marvel show every 2 months for just for the first part of the year, and then by that time there'll be other some Star Wars stuff coming too. So
let's remind ourselves this is just Disney.
Yeah,
there are a few other companies out there who create content.
I feel like this is Disney. The beginning of like the end for Netflix. Like I just don't see how they could ever compete with what
they
Disney
don't.
is.
They have no. They just don't have any IPs. They don't. They don't have anything that is worth anything.
And they are Riverdale, don't they? Wow. Well, they need to go full Archie.
They do full Archie.
Do the horror universe shows. Do Archie babies.
Archie babies.
Riverdale. Archie babies. Riverdale babies.
Yeah. That's the problem with Netflix is
Pop teats.
Anything good they've canceled. Anything good they've canceled in a year or two, so
that was a not pretty picture.
Oh boy. All right, moving on.
So we learned today we have a year to go till Mandalorian comes back. So I'm glad we went out on a high note.
Oh man.
We haven't covered the last 2 episodes, so we're gonna deep dive into the finale of season 2 here. So if you're not caught up on Mandalorian, we're about to get all up in it.
So
Chapter 15, The Believer, written and directed by Rick Famuyiwa.
Yes, returning. And he wasn't the only one returning. Bill Burr himself.
It just dawned on me, like, well, first off, what do you think The Believer means? Because it just came into my head. I don't know if this has any correlation or not, but I'm curious what you...
Well, it's him. The highlight of this episode to me was Bill Burr facing off against the commanding officer.
Yeah.
And that idea of, war, what is it good for?
The commanding officer is the believer, then. He believes in all the hype of the Empire.
That people, we get into all the space politics, and that the Empire is all about order and just, creating peace in the galaxy through order.
Yeah.
Whereas these rebels, these are just these troublemaking terrorist freedom fighter jerks. So that's how I was looking at it.
Yeah.
But then of course the Mandalorian, it's also Mando.
Yeah.
His creed and his belief.
Then we saw
he breaks his creed for the first time. Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Yeah, definitely. It's the we'll get into the episode, but it's Mayfeld's line, about talking to Mando about everybody's got a line they're going to cross at some point. So
yeah, it was about pretty. I was expecting that out of that character, because when Burr was on it the first time, it was fine, but it was a bit much for me. It was a little bit jokey or whatever, but this was way better, and he had couple really good emotional moments.
Yeah,
saying things like that. Yeah.
The redemption of that character, because out of that was one of my favorite episodes from last year, The Prisoner, and but he was the guy I like. He was the character that I could have cared less about. Like, I thought all the other characters were more interesting than he. Even the stupid droid was more interesting than he was in that episode. So
they pick him up in the chop fields, busting up old TIE fighters, like these piles of wreck. So that's the kind of world building I love. Like, we just had a giant war, and we blew up all kind of equipment. So there's got to be people who just have to like dig through it and clean stuff up. So.
Right.
But they've got these. It's been a couple weeks now. Weren't they like droids there that were like policing them, watching them, and they're dicks? I'm like, this again is just like, what is the New Republic? You know.
Well, that's the whole season's kind of, I won't say it's been at the forefront, but it's definitely been in the background of is the New Republic any different?
Yeah, they have any better ideas? Different?
Yeah. So
looks like what we have here is a failure to communicate. Beep boop boop.
But some man beep boop boop.
where we had the Empire, where they were constantly, they never stopped conquering planets. They were always trying to get bigger. They were always trying to, strip every world of anything that was of value to them. And then you move on to the next one, where the New Republic, the soldiers they're just trying to be peacemakers. They're not trying to expand and reach out and, into the more further out into the outer rim and take over the way the Empire was. And that's where we've been focused this entire series, is on those outer rim, for the most part, those outer rim planets.
I just felt like if you're like, you're being oppressed and they're trying to overthrow the Empire and reach out, and you just would have so much excitement about that when you finally pull it off and about spreading that freedom. And they're like, no, we're going to police the crap out of you.
Well, here's the interesting thing, though. Like, in the original series, the Outer Rim was full. That's kind of where the rebellion went to hide, okay? Because the Empire had not been able to take it over. And then they defeat the Empire, and then what's the Empire do? They turn around and run to the Outer Rim, the Wild West area, to try and hide from this, and stay in the shadows of the New Republic.
They need to get out there and sweep the floors, get rid of those guys.
Well, there's a lot of politicians currently who are very good at telling you what you're doing wrong, and you got to vote this person out of office, and these are terrible. But when they get into power, they don't know what they're doing, and they mess stuff up even worse. So, yeah, it's that sort of idea of like the rebellion had to get rid of the Empire. Well, what do you replace that with? Mm-hmm. Someone still has to keep the space trains running on time. Like it's got to be a big mess.
Yeah.
So
what happened?
They had to go to the jungle planet of Morak and invade an Imperial Rhydonium refinery.
Get that Rhydonium.
Because there's just one terminal he can plug a stick into and find out where Moff Gideon is the idea.
Yeah, you want...
And Bill Burr knows all the codes and the procedure and stuff, right?
Right, because here's how it works. You gotta have the codes and stuff. It's like, but you can't have a face that's on file as having anything to do with the New Republic. So Fennec can't go. Boba can't go. Best line in the episode.
Yeah.
We don't have time for this. Fennec will go.
No, I'm wanted by the ISB. I'll trip the alarm too.
Fett, let's just say they might recognize my face.
Let's just say they might recognize my face.
That was great.
I think my only problem with this, which was a very Star Wars problem, that Star Wars logic is, can't be part of the New Republic, but you can be basically anybody else.
Right.
You can be anyone else. If you walk up to that and just have a face, that's all we ask.
I saw someone point it out as like it's kind of like having a video on an ATM machine. Like if there's a problem later, we can go back and see who it was and what their face was.
We're forgetting how big the Empire was, and the Imperials are still operating on the same system. Okay, they haven't changed anything. They're still everything's still trying to function as it was.
I would have thought it would make more sense. Maybe not. I know the stormtroopers don't look like him anymore, but it made more sense if you would have had to have that face, the face of all the freaking clones, and then Boba would have had to go in. But I know it doesn't work in the timeline like that. But
somebody else pointed out in this world, it's much more important that CAPTCHA thing. It was like, I am not a robot. Like we can't let robots access this thing. So you had to show that you have a human face.
Yeah, they definitely. There was some silly logic there, but it was just one of those things where it's like, here's where we have to get. It was clearly they wrote this backwards.
Yeah,
we have to get to the part he has to take his helmet off. Yeah. Now let's go backwards. But anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
I noticed this terrific reference to an old movie.
It's great.
This rhydonium is very volatile and can blow up if you go too fast or jostle it too much.
We learned that in the Clone Wars.
Oh, is that that's an actual callback?
Featured in
explosive. Yeah.
Oh wow. That is the exact plot of a movie from 1977 called Sorcerer by William Friedkin.
June 1977.
June of 77. So this is the guy
Is he still alive? Can we email him?
Yeah, he just did an interview. He just did an interview not too long ago about Star Wars because he was part of a production team. They turned down George Lucas, one of the many in Hollywood who didn't want anything to do with Star Wars. But George Lucas was submitting the script around, and he's like, "Who wrote this crap?" He's like, "George," because George was like in with all those guys, the Coppolas and all those guys from the '70s. He was like going to be one of these great auteur filmmakers. And Friedkin like read this garbage and was like, "What is this? It's robots in space. Yeah, get it out of here." So, he already has a history with Star Wars. So, this is the guy. He did The Exorcist a couple years before that, The French Connection right before that. So, two huge hits. So everyone wanted to know what's this guy's next movie. It was going to be The Sorcerer. He spent like 2 years filming it. 5 different countries, huge overblown budget, and it's about these guys risking their lives in the jungles of South America trying to get this dynamite transported from one place to another, and it's been like leaking nitroglycerin. So any kind of jostling or over these rough roads and jungle trenches and stuff will blow up. So it's a good movie. It's there's another movie, Wages of Fear. It was like a French movie. It's based on a book, so it wasn't a direct remake of this movie, but it's based on the same book, whatever. But so here is 1970s peak, like heady, director-focused filmmaking, and it comes out just a few weeks after Star Wars. Star Wars blows it out of the water. It never recoups its budget. Star Wars took over all the theaters. They needed more screens to show Star Wars to everybody. So this is basically the moment filmmaking changes from these smart, intense 70s dramas of the Coppolas and the Scorseses into, hey, Star Wars is fun, let's make $1 billion. So this movie already kind of has a reputation as the thing that bombed because of Star Wars, and then here the Mandalorian comes around and takes and basically riffs on the whole plot of the thing. So I just found that amazing. I enjoyed the heck out of that.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
And then we got fights on top of the truck. The trucks could blow up at any moment, and then you got pirates swinging on. We got Indiana Jones type action.
Yeah, it was so Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great. Good stuff. So yeah, they get into the base and sneak in. They put the coast trooper.
Well, yeah. Well, first off, that's where he's like, they're driving on the left, and he says that to him. He's like, okay, first you can't take your helmet off. He's like, I'm just pointing this out.
Yeah, Empire, New Republic. It's all the same to these people. Invaders on their land is all we are.
You got this line you won't cross. You're not taking that helmet off. But look, now you're wearing another different helmet.
I'm just saying, somewhere someone in this galaxy is ruling and others are being ruled. I mean, look at your race. Do you really think all those people that died in wars fought by Mandalorians actually had a choice? So how are they any different than the Empire? Look, if you were born on Mandalore, you believe one thing. If you're born on Alderaan, you believe something else. But guess what? Neither one of them exist anymore.
You're right. Is when he's like, you're wearing this different helmet, and now, what everybody's got a line they won't cross till things get messy.
Right.
It's like you see just where your line is, or if there is even a line. How important was it?
Hey, I'm just a realist. I'm a survivor, just like you.
Let's get one thing straight. You and I are nothing alike.
I don't know. Seems to me like your rules start to change when you get desperate. I mean, look at you. You said you couldn't take your helmet off, and now you got a stormtrooper one on. So what's the rule? Is it that you can't take off your Mando helmet, or you can't show your face? Because there is a difference.
I was like, that blew me away in that moment. Just like, because that's just,
look, I'm just saying,
life.
We're all the same. Everybody's got their lines they don't cross until things get messy. As far as I'm concerned, if you can make it through your day and still sleep at night, you're doing better than most.
Control, this is Juggernaut 3.
Yeah.
That feels like the perfect line for Bill Burr to deliver. It sounds like one of his stand-up, setups.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Like he tries to push buttons and make you think about why you do what you do. So that just came out of his mouth perfectly.
But the series, I mean, going back to last year, they've set it up so perfect about, introducing him. This is the way. I've never taken my helmet off. I've never shown my face. Into the beginning of this season where, he encounters Bo-Katan and the other Mandos, and they, or even right before that with Timothy Oliphant, when he takes off that helmet, and we're all, as the audience, we're all like, like we've never seen a Mandalorian take their helmet off before. That we, of course, we have, and then running into Bo-Katan, and she's, oh, you're a child of the Watch. Like they've just set it up, built into that moment, and it's such a good job.
I saw someone criticize, I don't know how I feel, like that doing it now lessened what happened in the next episode. Like if he had done it for the first time ever in the next episode, would that make it any better? Or is that just a continuation of what he does now? I think I totally see that point. It would have made the final thing in the newest episode better, but I think both of these separate were worth more than that. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Because of the way episode 7 ended and stuff, it really anyway, I don't want to say it till we go to it. But they go in there, he goes I like the break room. It's in the break room. Like, everyone's just chilling out, having snacks. And
I love that aspect of Star Wars. Just the everyday stuff. I was waiting for Matt the radar tech to walk in. Like, the poor guy that would just try and, that stormtrooper that was holding his tray, he just wanted to eat his lunch. But it does. After they fight off the pirates and, they're saved by the TIE fighters. That's such a weird moment.
Yeah, because you're like, good. Yay, TIE fighters.
Yeah.
It's like how, and man, but that just really just stamps what Mayfeld said. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, your line is fuck TIE fighters until all of a sudden they're on your side. Yay, TIE fighters. But what we got over them real freaking quick. All of a sudden we're like, yay.
But it also invokes that Last Jedi moment with, when they go to the casino planet and with that DJ characters, and he's, and he brings up the specs and he's like, they sell them, they sell to both sides.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe that's what they're showing. Just nobody's any good.
Well, maybe that's the twist here, is that was Bill Burr's belief till he walks in that room and he sees
Right.
Valen Hess, who was Richard Brake, the Night King from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
So, and then we learn Operation Cinder.
Yeah, he did a great job on that little role. But because, like, it was so interesting because Imperial officers, they have that British accent. And then they throw this guy in there, and he's just kind of got that slow Southern.
Yeah, and the actor is from the UK, but they made him like an evil Southern villain. That was weird.
Yeah, it was so good.
So so then Bill Burr has to look at him like, yeah, there is a difference. So there was this scorched earth campaign that, they were destroying entire planets toward the end of the war. And Bill Burr was there for it, and he kind of confronts him about it.
Yeah.
So that apparently that idea, this Operation Cinder, was first brought up in the comics, Star Wars Shattered Empire from Greg Rucka, and then it was used as an important part of Battlefront 2, the video game.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard, yeah.
Okay, so I saw a lot of people like, wow, I can't believe they brought up that. So they bring up a mission from a video game as a crucial, moral quandary in this series. Like, that's incredible.
But yeah, the way, and Bill Burr, who is obviously damaged, he's talking about, all the men that he served with that, they just were sent to slaughter during this. And what about those guys? And which is an interesting thing a few minutes later.
You saw it coming, I assume. I assume the way Bill was looking at him, I was like, he's gonna shoot that guy.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna hit the fan, and I was like, how the hell are they getting out of here?
But they had just been applauded. All the people were applauding them. They could have just walked right out. They got a pat on the back and just could have walked away. But
right.
They had to shimmy out the window.
He has to take his helmet off, get scanned and everything, and he's thinking about the line he's crossing, but he's got to do it to save the kid. And
old Brown Eyes.
Yeah, they have to go out the window and
I didn't go back and check, but I saw somebody mention when he had his helmet off, he still moves like he had it on. Like Pedro Pascal would move his whole body, and like when he looked down, he moved, like he didn't move his face around or move his eyes around. Like he was so used to his physical acting. He was at
And then what happened? They went outside. Just basically escaped.
They escape.
They let him go.
Right. We get the, that Slave One coming in. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Slave One.
Yeah, they have to jump into the cargo hold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then he grabs that rifle, and blows the whole thing to Sam Hill. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, now he just totally gave a speech about all the guys he's served with, and I'm like, you just blew up a whole different batch of those guys. So that was interesting.
We did skip that Boba had new painted armor. He had painted his armor and stuff.
He had cleaned up between,
Boba Fett was
spit shine.
Looking good. The timeline, though, I know this isn't supposed to be that long after Jedi. A few years. He really packed on the pounds in that small amount of time. But who doesn't? It happens to us fast.
We don't know how long he was in that Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. He had to eat his way out.
Yeah.
We got company.
Another reference.
We'll get that story in the Book of Boba.
Another reference I saw people flipping out about was the seismic charge as they're making his escape.
Oh man!
He drops the bomb on the TIE fighter, which is the same thing Jango used in Attack of the Clones.
Well, I was totally waiting for it. as someone that has ridden Star Tours, the ride,
he's
countless
basically
times,
flown that thing, you know. So.
Yeah. There is a mission where you encounter Boba Fett and he's dropping those charges, and I mean, just amazing. Loved that callback.
Yeah.
Totally.
The article I read had a link to a clip to YouTube to watch that scene from Attack of the Clones of Ewan McGregor being chased by Jango and all that stuff. And like I click on it and it was like 8 minutes long. I was like, what is going on in this movie? Like the scene took forever. I was like, wow, that's the prequel. It's a cool moment, but it's just stretched out forever. They're zipping through the asteroids and they keep doing shots of young Boba Fett. They're like woohoo kind of nonsense. Yeah. It's like, wow.
So yeah, blows it up and then they let him go.
Well, looks like it's back to the scrap heap.
Thank you for helping.
Yeah. Good luck getting your kid back. All right, officer. Take me back.
That was some nice shooting back there.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah, that wasn't part of the plan. I was just getting some stuff off my chest.
You know, it's too bad Mayfield didn't make it out alive back there.
Yeah, too bad.
What are you talking about?
Looked to me like prisoner number 34667 died in a refinery explosion on Morak.
Does that mean I can go? Huh? Because I will. Okay.
Cara Dune's, when it's time to take old Miggs Mayfeld back to prison, the prison yard, they decide that I guess he's learned his lesson, and it's a shame he perished in that explosion, so they just let him go. And that's the episode.
But at the end, he appears to, he sends a message to Moff Gideon, and he says, this kid,
he repeats
this
the
means
speech.
more to me than, he repeats, the speech. And he's like, more to me than anything ever. And somebody said that they thought that was cheesy, and I was like, no, don't you get it? It's just like, he realized in this episode also that he really felt that way. Like, he had crossed those lines. This kid is the reason he took that helmet off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that's what he means by him meaning more than anything. My code, this is my kid, basically, So
I like hearing all that, but I don't know that you should tell your enemy.
Hey, if you got balls of steel, you do.
Yeah.
You got balls of Beskar, you
Yeah.
freaking say it.
That's right.
So we went on to the next episode. What's it called?
The Rescue.
Yeah.
Chapter 16, directed by Peyton Reed of the previously mentioned Ant-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be it. We get to see
We jump right in, just like episode 4, right in the middle of a firefight through space.
Yeah.
We're chasing down the clone scientist, the nerd in the glasses.
Yeah, he's in the Lambda shuttle. I immediately said, "Oh, shuttle Tidarium," but I was incorrect, and they blast
Idiot.
with the ion cannon, and I guess rendered the ship helpless there for some time, and he gets boarded, and we've got those two puny little Imperial pilots up there. The one dude he's like, he doesn't give a crap about anything. He just wants his own life saved, and then the other guy doesn't care.
I'm just trying to pay for college. I just joined the Empire to get an education.
Right. And get that GI Bill. So
but that's another point. We get a different perspective. This guy's like, his friends got killed on the Death Star. by you awful evil rebels.
Right.
So, like, yeah, Star Wars doesn't often give you the other side of the story, even if you know it's wrong. It was a nice little moment.
And we got the that little line he says when he's refers to her as a dropper, and he says, "Yeah, I saw the tattoo."
Drop your weapon.
No. Now you listen to me. This is a top-tier target of the New Republic. This is a clone engineer. And if they find out that he's dead because of you, you're going to wish you never left Alderaan. I saw the tear. You want to know what else I saw? I saw your planet destroyed. I was on the Death Star.
Which one?
You think you're funny? Do you know how many millions were killed on those bases?
Drop your blaster.
As the galaxy cheered,
Last chance.
destroying your planet was a small price to pay to rid the galaxy of terrorism.
So we kind of got the meaning of that little rebel insignia tattoo. She has a teardrop tattoo, basically, of what that is. It's meant to be a remembrance of all the people she lost on Alderaan. So,
and he equivocates it to the Death Star, which she has that comeback, which one?
Which one? So,
but just saying from his perspective, he's like, how many people died on there?
Right.
It's like,
yeah, all the construction people and contractors and who knows. So, so they get the ship, and then where did we go from there? They've already met?
They went to Navarro or wherever. Yeah, where was
Bo-Katan and the other girl,
Koska Reeves,
and she had totally lied to. I said out loud, she lied, because I'd seen an interview with her, the wrestler girl, how someone had asked her a few weeks ago after their episode they were in. They were like, "Are you in it anymore this season?" Or she's like, "No, I don't get any lines or anything." Just like totally blatantly lied.
Well, I saw an interview. She wasn't the only one when asked if they were going to be in more Star Wars that totally lied. So
just it. They didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Just say, I can't say anything.
Well, I think that shows like how tight knit Lucasfilm is. Like no leaks came out ahead of these episodes. This entire series, we really didn't, other than a casting, some casting news that basically was dropped from casting agencies. It didn't come from Lucasfilm, where we had the sequel trilogy, and we knew pretty much everything. I mean, tons of plot points. We know who was playing who. All these leaks came out. The scripts were on the internet months ahead of time. Because it was JJ.
John Boyega left him in a taxi or whatever. So
yeah, right. JJ and Bad Robot. Different companies were involved, and they totally leaked stuff everywhere.
JJ's notorious for that. What? Well, did he get put on the spot when they asked about Star Trek Into Darkness or whatever it was?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the second one. Is Benedict Cumberbatch playing Khan?
Yeah.
No. It's like,
but
sorry, we don't believe
Lucasfilm does a really good job though about keeping that stuff under wraps.
Yeah, they do that with threats.
Oh, I'm sure.
And money.
Yeah.
Or money. That's fine with me. I don't want to be spoiled.
So Boba and Din Djarin head down to get the other known Mandalorians that they know, and then we get a little fight and a confrontation.
Yeah, because Boba is like we were talking about
He's a clone.
The other week, and he is not a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's like, I never said I was.
Right.
So we'll talk about later at the end what people were saying, but I'll get to that. But anyway, he's not a Mandalorian, and that I love. It was a reason for them to fight, but it was a great fight. We needed to see that. She needed to get to do that because that's why they hired her.
Right.
And we wanted to see more. Everybody wants to see some Boba Fett action.
And using the line and wrap them up, using the jetpack to pile drive somebody.
They both fire at each other, just flamethrowers into each other.
So all the fun stuff we want to see.
But
then that gives her, like, Bo-Katan gives all her demands. Okay, I'll go with you, but I want first crack at Gideon. I get the Darksaber, and he's like, "That's fine. I don't want any of this."
She says he has to.
He's not concerned with the lore and the nonsense. He just wants the kid.
Yeah, she goes, he has to surrender to me, and which we weren't paying any attention to that really at the time.
Right. Yeah, such a great line though too when she says, because she doesn't know who Boba Fett is. But as soon as she hears that voice and she says, "I've heard that voice 1,000 times." That's such a great line.
Yeah.
And and then for him to come back, because it's Boba Fett. He's a man of few words normally. and he says, "Oh, well, this will be the last one you hear." It's like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, he is killing it.
Yeah.
He is killing it.
Love it.
Yeah. So then they fly. They got their plan to. He's supposed to follow them and shoot at them as they try to go in there, and they go in and land. What's up? That was cool. It was cool watching the TIE fighters take off out of the exit port there.
Yeah, those little details we never got to see before. That's talk about the world building and stuff, and it's always interesting to me what they come up with. That chute in the center of that ship, just it's a bigger version, but we've seen that before, even on the Millennium Falcon, when Rey's shooting out of that. Even going back to Solo, so that escape hatch right there, and then I don't know, just it's a lot of cool.
They could have built it a little wider.
Like, it was exactly wide enough.
Yep.
But yeah, that whole idea of like, "Hey, could you not come in the outdoor?" He's like, "We're being chased. Sorry, can't hear you."
Yeah.
Just shoot him down. It's not a great plan.
Yeah. And they're like, and they talk about the Dark Troopers. They made somebody like it takes them just a little while to power up. Well, that didn't seem to matter. They seem to power up quite quickly, and they're in
Mando was taking his sweet time and just kind of. He was not in any kind of hurry. Run down.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh no, wait! I should have hurried. I should have walked faster." And they keep the Dark Troopers in the cargo bay,
and cold
storage. It has access to space. If you release it, and you're thinking at the time that's stupid, but of course it doesn't matter. That's why they keep them there, because it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. They can get right back in.
So yeah, we got a whole bunch of more peeking around corners, shooting stormtroopers, and blast doors opening and shutting, and running through hallways, like all that fun Star Wars stuff you want to see.
Him fighting that one trooper, seeing how about
that was so necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I said in the previous 2 episodes ago, they just landed, they looked clunky, and they took the baby. And it's like, I remember saying on the show, I'm not impressed by these things. They don't look very scary. And then having that thing pound the snot out of him, it's like, oh, okay, a whole room full of these things could actually do some damage. So that was and then going right into the helmet just over and over again.
And every time he hit him, it didn't, the Beskar, we show how tough it is, but he's beating him into the wall. Like every time he hit him, he went back further into that wall. So pretty cool.
End up releasing them into go on.
And then he shoots them all out into the airlock, and you think, oh, okay, that threat's over. Like that's a good way to get rid of this threat of all these Cylon, whatever they are, thingies. Like, But yeah, again, boom, they did the rope-a-dope, and they were back later. And then even after that fight, I thought maybe the Moff Gideon fight would be a little, he's not the, he's getting up there in age. He's not the most, agile performer.
Yeah, we knew that it was going to
it was a good fight too.
Had the spear. There's going to be a dark saber. There had to be a face-off of that nature, and it was good.
I totally expected him to be a pretty tough fighter, because if he had that dark saber, then we have to assume that he beat Bo-Katan for it, because we know she had it, and in order for him to get it, he, I suppose you could say do some story where he stole it, but we're getting the...
Yeah, he doesn't need to have beat her to get it, because he's not trying to be the leader of Mandalore or whatever.
Yeah.
But right before they fought, they're in the cell or whatever, and he's talking about taking blood. He's already got blood from Baby Yoda. Did we decide exactly what they're doing with this blood?
Well,
he said again, it's like bringing order to the galaxy or something. So
it's
the
start
of the cloning of the Emperor. Is that the idea?
Well, I think that's part of it, but I think they're trying to clone. They're trying to make Jedi, basically people that can use the Force for their own doing. Of course, it's a very evil thing to do, but it also could be, if you guys remember back to The Rise of Skywalker, when we see the tubes with Snoke in it. So very well could have been
Palpatubes.
Yeah, Palpatube.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is where they got some nice dose of midichlorians to pump into that crap.
Right.
Okay.
But I believed him there for a minute, because he seems like a calculating. Yeah. He seems like Gus Fring. He's like, he's not going to fight this guy. He has what he wants, whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then no sneak attack. It's like, oh, you dummy.
Yeah, you dummy.
He was just going to walk away.
Well, before he hits him in the back with it, I had a moment of, well, that's a very Thrawn thing to do, right? Like he's got everything he wants, and you're of no use to me. I don't care anymore. I have everything I need. I'm moving on to my target. It's a very Thrawn thing to do, but yeah, no. Instead, he just cheap shots him.
So then he gets the dark saber. They show up there in the main room or whatever, and she's like, "How the heck? Why do you have that thing?" He looked so cool walking in there with the freaking. It's like he got a baby and I got a baby Yoda and a dark saber, and I'm all out of bubble gum. and they explain that he's like, ha ha ha. Don't you understand how it works? Yada yada yada. Even though I'm not entirely convinced that totally matches up with what we watched in Clone Wars, how it worked. Like, I don't feel like they laid that groundwork exactly to those specifications.
Because I
assume that we will get. I assume that with some other series they will bridge that gap and fix that for us.
Because Sabine had the dark saber.
Yeah,
for a while, and didn't she just give it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
to Bo-Katan.
I know there was none of this. Like, I have to battle you.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I kind of had that same feeling.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I saw when he was laughing, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be something like that, but I don't feel like they set that up previously. But it's fine. It's fine because it's like what
it's a new wrinkle. It gives them a reason to stick around with.
Is this
deal with those characters?
Is this from? I mean, this feels so familiar, where somebody doesn't want the power they have, but they have to. What is this, Frodo? What is it like? They're the one that has it. I don't even want it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but so then the guy, we
get the alert.
Yeah, the dark guys come back and they're they're banging on the door, beating the door in. You're just like, it's obvious the situation that they're in. Gideon even says it's gonna be a night. You're gonna put up a good fight, but everybody in this room's gonna die except me or whatever. And
the
it's
baby.
just like clear that's gonna happen. And then
at this point, I have no thought of what's about to happen, but I'm only thinking, okay, we haven't seen Boba Fett since the very beginning.
Right.
So how does Boba Fett rescue them?
Yeah.
That's where my mind is.
Okay.
So I had a nice reveal.
I had told
you were ready for it, though.
I had told you guys previously I'd already written Luke on a piece of paper and laid it on the coffee table and told Nick I've written down what I think the end's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because a few weeks ago we were talking and saying how I
said it was green lightsaber. And a cloak.
We had already heard, it was the Ahsoka episode that told us, it's like you're going to take him to someone else, to a Jedi, and there's temples and all this. And what happened in The Last Jedi? We know that at this time Luke was going around to training Jedi and going to temples.
He starts a new school.
Got his school.
Yeah.
Which basically, I don't want to scare anybody, but does Kylo Ren kill Baby Yoda?
Yeah. It's very possible.
And we even talked about it a couple episodes ago of like, okay, who did he contact? And is it Ezra going to show up? Is it Mace Windu going to come back from the dead? Is it Luke? No, it couldn't be Luke. We were waiting for this. We knew he contacted somebody. We know there's not a whole lot of Jedis to pick from. So it should have been very obvious it was Luke from that point.
Yeah.
Because yes, as a Star Wars nerd deep into it, okay, Ezra showing up would raise the bar a little bit, but what would make the fans the happiest,
right?
The most common, the common watcher make any kind of sense to. It had to be Luke. It was inevitable.
I never thought they would actually do it.
Yeah, and even as he's walking in and we're seeing the footage, I'm like, is it him? No, is it? Maybe. Are they going to do it? They're not going to pull the rug out.
When that second,
100%, I was 100%. Yes, they're definitely going to do this. All this show has done is give people what they want, and so what does everybody want? They did not get the badass Luke that they thought they were going to get in the last trilogy, and they want at this time frame. They want you better show us a Luke that is at his peak.
But I'm telling you, even when Red 5 was coming in, that alarm went off and she's like, "Oh, 1 X-Wing, great, we're saved." And I was like, Jordan and I talked about this, and we were like, "Oh, wouldn't it have been, great if it was Filoni or that, the guy from Kim's Convenience or something, coming in." And I was like,
hey, you guys are getting a fine.
What's going on over there?
Yeah.
Show me your hands.
But in my mind,
exactly. Yeah. I was like, go talk to that black stormtrooper. Yeah, what are you doing in here?
But had they physically done that though, like, it's old Trapper Wolf coming in to save the day, like the guy that actually saved the Star Wars universe. Some people feel like,
that
the
would
one
have
we're
been
praising, it's really him. He's in the show.
Yeah.
He's the one that saves everybody.
It's a little meta.
What I was even a little bit suspicious. I've only watched it once, but when he's fighting. Which I've always thought that when we had the prequels and any time that they try to show a Jedi being a badass, except for Last Jedi. I think Last Jedi kills it. The Red Throne Room fighting, those two, that is a killer fight to me. But most of the time when they think they're showing a Jedi being badass, I'm not super impressed. It always looks slow to me. And this included. I thought it looked slow. Yes, he's whipping everybody's butt, but it's like they're standing there and taking it. Personal opinion.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I was like, this looks really freaking familiar. These moves. And it was at the moment that he reached out and started crushing that Dark Trooper's neck. I went and looked up. It is shot for shot Rogue One.
Yeah.
Shot for
It's the
shot.
hallway.
It's shot for shot of Darth Vader in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And doing everything. Shoots the, pushes the guy back, grabs the neck, all that.
Oh, I
was like, that's cool.
immediately thought of that scene. Because that's the most badass Vader scene we've ever got. And then here we're going through the hallway again, and it was exactly the same. I immediately thought of that.
Yeah. The other thing that clicked at that moment for me was, okay, why didn't we see this stuff? Like, when have we seen this stuff before? Action like this in the prequels, where you have all the Jedi fighting and stuff. It's like, this is why all those Dark Troopers are droids. It's the same reason there was droids, all battle droids and all that stuff in Geonosis. It's like, because it's the only way you can have Luke come in, or a good Jedi come in there and kill everybody.
Yeah.
They got to be droids, you know. So he can come in there and just cut people in half and smash them and do whatever he wants and be the badass, because they're not real people.
Well, the interesting thing I thought, just on going back to his fighting style, was because I went back and watched it again. And again. And they did a really cool thing, because in the original trilogy, they always hold it with two hands, very samurai-like, right? So I was kind of watching, and he's slinging it around, but he would pause and immediately go back to, like, any big strike was always with two hands.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a kind of a good way to bring it back.
Speaking of that, before I forget, that was something I wanted to mention, that when they were waiting on those Dark Troopers to come bang through the door or whatever, and they're pulling their guns out, again, exactly Bo-Katan doing her gun holding angles exactly like the cartoons, like one like this, one like this. It was just perfect, trying to duplicate what she does in the cartoons, how she holds her guns. It was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he comes in there, drops the hood, and I was like, I was one of the people that just wished it was Sebastian Stan. I know we have Mark Hamill, I know we have the technology, but at that moment, we're already paying Disney Plus to pay Sebastian Stan's salary. Just put him in there, and we could have had a live action person.
He's already missing an arm, so just missing a hand with
exactly. He already knows how to do this.
Yeah.
Are you a Jedi?
I am. Come, little one.
He doesn't want to go with you.
He wants your permission. He is strong with the Force, but talent without training is nothing. I will give my life to protect the child, but he will not be safe until he masters his abilities.
The only problem I had with it right there was when he walks in, he doesn't say, "My name's Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you."
See, that's what I wanted. That whole scene to me took forever.
Yeah.
And okay, Seth knew exactly who it was, but I didn't. It'll probably play better on a rewatch. But to me, it was like, is it Luke? Is it not Luke? And I felt like my emotions were being toyed with. And by the time I knew it was him, the fight was still going on and still going on. Like, if he had just busted through the door with, "I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you," boom, people's heads explode.
Yeah, I agree.
It was such a slow reveal that it wasn't. Then it was like, oh, now he looks weird. Like, it wasn't a moment of wow.
It's like, is that Luke Skywalker? Because he looks really bad.
Yeah.
Like, this is another problem. It's like, I don't want to hear anything about budget, but every time you do a show versus a movie, the TV show does not have the budget of movie, and I do not get that, because
it's time to go.
Ant-Man, Michael Douglas looked like Michael Douglas. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Kurt Russell looked amazing when they de-aged him.
Mm-hmm.
This does not look good. What are they doing?
The difference is it wasn't Mark Hamill playing the actual physical part.
I totally believe that. I do believe he was not involved.
Yeah. No. Even in the credits, it credits basically it's got the guy's name and it says Jedi Double.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was credited in the main credits.
As being Luke Skywalker. That's
but I think the problem is it was a different
was he
guy.
Even the voice?
Yeah, it was his voice.
Yeah.
Because the voice sounded even a little...
It did sound kind of weird, and I kind of wondered...
Well, they tried to young it his voice up.
Right. Yeah. But I think it's because it was a different actor that they were painting a face on, much the way they did Carrie Fisher, even in Rogue One. And Moff... Grand Moff Tarkin, they did the same thing, because he looked kind of weird. But I think the difference is
they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, even 10 years ago with Tron, when they did that, they did a much, I don't know. I think they did a better job, but
it doesn't hold up.
That big mask.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges had the thing, the helmet on his head, recording him doing it. So I think that's really the difference in it.
I just think how any of them let that happen and let it not look perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That could have looked better.
Yeah.
It's great, exciting, but it's like I wanted that to come down and just look. I wanted to be blown away because it's been a while since I've seen them do it. It's been a couple years since they've done this de-aging, and it should only get better.
I wondered on after it was done because I was just so excited about it. The first time I watched it, I didn't even care. I did not care. The second time, but I was like, well, I wonder if this will be a situation where, if it was George would, as soon as the technology got a little better and he could go in and fix it again, he immediately would.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that could happen down the line.
What's that Bantha doing on this spaceship?
Right.
But anyway, so he basically comes in there and he's going to take Baby Yoda to school.
Yes.
And the cry moment is him reaching up and touching the helmet, wanting to see Daddy's face. He takes his helmet off, and it's just, it's so good. And you're gonna have to be away from each other again. But he has to be available to go save Mandalore with everybody in whatever show they're gonna do that.
Yeah. So so they just leave. He brings R2 in.
Oh yeah, R2 does come in, dance around.
That was a pretty cool cameo. Did anybody else immediately, as soon as Grogu's up there and he's R2's
probably not. Whatever happened, we probably didn't do it. But go on.
Nobody else thought about Yoda smacking R2 with his stick.
That would have been funny.
Mine. And R2's remembering that, you little. I'm going to get your little bastard ass. You hit me with that stick.
I was waiting for Mando to give him the ball.
That
he purposefully picked out of the wreckage. I figured, here, take this. Remember?
Wow, they literally dropped the ball.
Yeah, and then so I'm like, why would he not give him that? That's a whole plot thing.
Gee whiz! I bet they're killing themselves now.
Luke carries him out to the elevator, and I'm like, oh, now they're going to do it.
He's going to held it out.
He's going to force zap the ball across the room. Cut to credits. I'm like, they didn't do it.
It's like they're so worried about secrecy that they don't let a panel of people watch the show and say, hey, you forgot something.
Yeah. It's still in his pocket, Of course, now
later
next
he
season,
can pick it out and remember.
He can take it out and look at it, and but
I'm sure that's why they did it. But it would have been better to just do it now. You can think of something else cool later. Now I'm mad.
Terrible episode.
That was awful. I hate this show. And then so basically,
but I was thrilled by all that. I thought it was a satisfying ending. I'm sure there's people who just watched the show for Baby Yoda and his cute antics.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was not in the last episode for the first time, in 16 episodes, there was one. I was the only one who's never had a Baby Yoda. So it's probably a risk taking him away, but I don't know. You got to do something. You got to keep the story going. You got to keep it rolling.
They will find a way to have that kid still involved somehow.
Yeah.
Or they will have a baby Jar Jar.
All right, so we got our Luke. We got our Luke Ex Machina. We ended the episode. Fade to black. The credits start rolling, and there's no concept art.
Yeah.
Like every episode ends with the cool art.
Yeah.
Like,
and the theme.
There's like 6 minutes left. What's going on here? So keep watching. Oh, it comes back up. Desert, planet, 2 suns, familiar building.
Very familiar building.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. Oh, as soon as we see the twin suns, okay, we're on Tatooine. Fade back a little bit more. Oh, Jabba's palace. Well, what are we doing here? Like, oh, Boba, okay. Let's see what happens. And then they go in and, we see those Gamorrean guards walking up the hallway much the way they did Luke and Jedi. And then there's old big fat Bib Fortuna sitting on the throne.
Please tell me the internet is calling him Big Tuna. That has to be his name. Tuna,
Yeah.
Big Tuna.
I did not put that together.
That has to be his name.
And he even as the shadowy figures coming down the hallway, because we don't see who it is first, and just a couple gunshots, and then he's like, Weequay again with the we just call him Weequay. We don't even call them. They don't have names. So that blaster bolts hits the Weequay, takes everybody else out, and we see by this time it's old Fennec Shand, and then Boba's right behind her, and we get a McClunky, guys.
Yep. Yep.
So I still don't know what that means, but apparently,
yeah,
whenever
you do. They've said it before. It means like, dang, I thought you knew it better.
No,
than
I didn't know it. I just
know
if it
literally means something like you're gonna pay or something, and then you pay.
Then you get shot.
And and he shoots him, and then he freaking sits down in the chair, and I was like, Boba the Hutt.
Yeah.
And they say what? Wait, wasn't the girl? The girl's like from this. When they added stuff in the special edition, I was thinking like Boba's like flirting with her in the background in the special edition and stuff.
I'm not sure if that's the same one or not. It could be. It would make sense.
And anyway, so they said we're gonna get Book of Boba,
the Book
Boba
of
Fett
Boba
or whatever,
Fett.
in a year from now. So so now we have to decide in what form are we getting that? Like, are there going to be 2 shows?
I told Jordan today. I took it as Mandalorian season 3 : the Book of Boba Fett. Like season 3 is
the only reason I question that is, it could absolutely be that. But what I was pointing out earlier, that's not what this show is. The Mandalorian, and that is that one person. If you wanted to stretch it and say you could apply it to any Mandalorian, okay, but Boba Fett is not a Mandalorian. They established that this episode. It was like
Baby Yoda's not a Baby Yoda,
but it's not called Baby Yoda. But so I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty risky. I don't care how much you like Boba Fett, to take a show that's a hit and take the 2 biggest people out of it.
Well, I understood that.
Well, it doesn't mean they're not in it. It just means this is the focus, right?
But you're going to call it the Book of Boba? That means it's going to be... I feel like it's going to be... I feel like it could be 2 different things happen at the same time. I think they could do both.
They could, but they didn't. I mean, maybe that's what... They were just keeping it secret.
Well, they had announced they had like 10 Star Wars shows, but they didn't announce 10 Star Wars shows.
Right.
Well, I saw the AV Club had a headline, new spinoff announced at the end of this episode. And then in the comment section, people were arguing the same thing. and somebody had said they had already announced season 3 of Mando was December 2021. And so this is just that. Are they going to debut them both at the exact same time? Or is this more, to me, it's more obvious this would be season 3. But
And I don't know
Boba
that
to me means flashbacks. Stuff, he can have stuff there, but I see flashbacks. What happened in the Sarlacc pit?
Mm-hmm.
What happened back in the day? I can't think of the kid's name about. Does the kid that played Boba in the prequels play young Boba doing some stuff? You know what? That's what I call Book of Boba. His life.
Do we know if Pedro Pascal is even agreed to come back?
Oh, I cannot imagine he is not locked up.
Well, that's the other thing I was seeing in comment sections is like there was rumors about he wasn't happy with his screen time. Like, who knows? The people were kind of blowing that out of proportion.
I heard that was not true.
I don't lend any credence to that, but that's got people talking like, oh, maybe they're transitioning away from him into Boba Fett because Disney's not happy with the actor or whatever. That seems a little ridiculous.
The first time I watched it, it just made sense to me. Like, oh, this story is done. Grogu goes with Luke, and he goes back to, okay, let's say he settles down or he goes back to just being a bounty hunter. I'm okay with that being the end of it, and then we transition over to Boba Fett or whoever.
I get it, and I hate when they just drag stuff on because it's a hit, but that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the number one freaking show, you're not going to stop doing what you got going on here. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe they finally realized you can do that.
Filoni he does crazy stuff.
Yeah, but how fast do you want to get through this stuff? Is next season Baby Yoda's halfway through his training and he has to go rescue somebody? Or do we want to jump into the fight for the Mandalorian throne and all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Or just take a season and have a Boba Fett story and put some stuff in the background?
And then
the next season. Like, I feel like they would want to stretch it out, especially at 8 episodes of a clip. You don't want to jump the gun and get into all this heavy stuff, as fast as you possibly can.
I can see, okay, I guess the reality I can see is maybe this show is the Boba Fett show for a season, and maybe they have the Ahsoka show is Ahsoka and all of these characters, all these Mandalorians, going for Ezra or saving Mandalore or doing all that stuff. But I cannot see there not being a place for Baby Yoda.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's character.
We're tying it all together Marvel Universe style. We set up Boba Fett here. We set up Ahsoka there. We set up this New Republic thing here. And then we bring them all back together in a couple of years and have one giant plot. Bring back teenage Yoda. And
I think, first off, two things. One, I don't think you can go 2 years without Baby Yoda. It's the biggest character on television. Two,
I admit
it took him
the
50 years to be 2 years old. I don't know how he becomes.
Hey, he's gonna drink so much milk hanging out with Luke. He's gonna grow. He's gonna grow like a weed.
The next time we see Baby Yoda, he's gonna be like, and just freaking wipe his face and give you a dirty look like Groot, like teenage Groot.
Yeah, who knows?
I hope not.
That blue milk is what a Baby Yoda body needs.
Oh my!
Oh,
well,
man. That would be funny. I would love to see a screenshot of like Luke and Baby Yoda both sucking teat.
Wow, this has been a long episode, guys.
Yeah. How did the baby not ride on his back? Wouldn't that have been great if he climbed on his back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just balls dropped everywhere.
Yeah. Jeez.
Well, I wasn't going to bring it
Luke
up.
does a flip to go. Yeah. He leaves the room doing a flip and like swings somewhere. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but when they get the alert for those dark troopers that are coming back into the ship, why didn't they just move the ship? Like, fly the ship away.
Shut the doors.
Hit the light speed and you're gone. They're left out there in endless space.
Floating in space.
Like, come on, guys. You didn't take the ship out. Just fly the ship.
They don't know what they're doing. It was good. I was disappointed, though, as much as I liked that stinger at the end with Book of Boba. I missed. That's one of my favorite parts of the episode is the concept art and the final, of the theme song, and we did not get it.
They played a different version. However, the music in this last episode was awesome.
It's always good. It's always freaking.
I noticed that, I noticed it a little bit the first time I watched it, but I was so tuned in to what was happening. The second time I went back and watched it, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I hopped on a couple spoiler boards, and people were talking about the dubstep for the music for the Dark Troopers. And then that last time I went back and watched it, I was like, "Oh my god, that is awesome!"
Yeah.
So they did some neat things with the themes,
and they didn't do like any obvious.
They do play. They play Luke's theme once he's revealed. Not
okay,
before.
but it felt like a new theme that they were playing. They were playing Mandalorian music.
They were, but they worked it in there. He did an excellent job. Excellent job for a guy that's only like 36 years old. So just amazing.
Yeah, it's like some Gooster Flichterston. I can't know the guy's name.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the vinyl of the soundtrack, but it was $200. No, thank you. Come on.
Is it made of Beskar?
Exactly.
Right. It better be.
No. You can keep it under 100.
Does it come in an ice cream maker?
That would be something. Wouldn't fit right on the shelf. All right, we did it.
Yes, we overdid it.
We've got a year to worry about this and think about it and debate it and check for spoilers and stuff, but plenty in the meantime to fill our time on Disney Plus and elsewhere. And we'll be back with all that in the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you in 2021. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Seth, goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udamwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udamwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.